Hi everyone! In this video we're going to sew block number 5 for May in our Jelly Roll Block of the Month challenge. I call it a modified version of a two-step block. If you'd like to join in on this challenge, check the description under this video. You'll find a link to my Facebook group where I share a PDF instruction, a Cricut Design Space version for cutting from yardage, and of course the link back to this video. So let's get sewing. So here we are with our Jelly Roll strip cuts. You're going to use 4 different strips. I like to kind of alter between medium and light or dark and light so that you have more contrast in your block. From each strip, you're going to cut one 12.5 and one 4.5, and you're going to repeat that for 4 different strips. Before I opened a full-length strip, I opened my leftover pieces from previous blocks, and I found that I had plenty to do this without starting any new strips. So you might want to check your leftovers before you pull out new strips, unless you really want to, of course. You're also going to need a 4.5-inch square of contrasting color. You can choose any color that you like that blends well with your strips, with your jelly roll, but you do want it to pop, so you want something contrasting. If you don't have fabric to cut a 4.5-inch square, you can use two 2.5-inch pieces cut 4.5-inch long and just sew them together to make a 4.5-inch square. Use a 1/4-inch seam. I used black so it would stand out so you could see what I did, but normally I would have used this a close color to what I'm sewing with. So there we go. This is our first. Let's lay out the block. Okay, this is our corner piece, top right corner. Let's take our 12.5-inch strips and we're going to set them up a medium or dark, a lighter color, medium or dark, and a lighter color. Then we put our top 4.5-inch block, or 4.5-inch square I should say, and you want to start in the opposite direction of these. So I'll put this one, then the medium or dark, then again and again. You wouldn't want to put this one at the bottom because when you sew it all together you end up with this L shape. You don't want that. So we're going to put it back up at the top or somewhere in between, just so it doesn't end up giving you that L shape. So we're going to sew this in 2 different parts. So first we're going to sew our 4 12.5 strips together to make this side of the block, and then we'll sew these together. And we'll finish by putting the 2 sides into one block. So we'll go ahead and do that. It's easy and fast because you have no nesting to do. It's just straight seams. Just make sure, see how I put this tree down? I put it down upside down. I want to make sure to put it right side up. If you're using any directional patterns, make sure you have them facing in the right directions. So I'll start with these 2 and continue. And here we go. Here's my first 2 strips sewn together. You want to be sure to be consistent about your 1/4-inch seams so that your block is even and fits together well. I also wanted to mention to you, I called it a modified 2-step because originally this block is made only with 2 strips on each side of your 4-inch square, so they're shorter strips. It makes for a smaller block, I think maybe about 8 inches. but we're working with 12.5-inch blocks. So I modified it just by adding extra strips so that it would work out to the right size. Okay, so these two are done. I also wanted to say, don't forget to press your seams in between. You can go to the right or to the left, doesn't matter, but make sure that they're well pressed, each seam, so you keep your block nice and flat. There we go. I'll sew this one and I'll be back. There's my third strip. Again, even 1/4-inch seams and well pressed. And now I'll add this final strip. And this side of the block is complete. All my strips are going in the same direction. Which direction you choose is up to you. So that's half the block. And now we're going to continue by sewing these together. I'm going to add on 4.5 after 4.5 and press between every seam. Keep it nice and flat so you have really nice results. You can see how it's progressing. I'm pressing my seams down. And the final 4.5-inch piece. And there we go. We have our two halves ready. So now all we have left to do is to put them together into one block. It's a super easy block, super fun, and if you're making an entire quilt out of this pattern, it's going to go very fast. You can probably accomplish your quilt top in a day. There we go. I'll sew this together with a 1/4-inch seam, trim up my threads, press everything super nice and flat, and it will be done. And here's our finished block. I love it. It's a super easy block to make. You just want to be sure that your seams are really consistent and you do a great job of pressing everything really flat. And you'll end up with a beautiful block. It should measure 12.5 by 12.5 when it's done. This one does. It's a perfect size. I'm going to clean up my threads. I never square up my block completely until I'm finished all the blocks in the series so that I can make sure everything turns out the same size. So if you're not already participating and you'd like to be included in our Block of the Month challenge, please find the link to my Facebook group in the description under this video and come join in the fun. Thank you for watching. Please take a moment to like this video and subscribe to my YouTube channel.